Happy New Year, and thank you for joining me for this practice. And I want to thank everybody for a lovely year, for all of your support, whether it be through Patreon or your private donations, and even just your comments. Thank you for making my YouTube channel come alive. So I'm here in West Cork, Ireland, celebrating the New Year Day. And I wanted to share with you a practice and a little philosophy that actually comes from the beauty of the Irish tradition. And last night at midnight, we already hit midnight, you guys are asleep right now as I do this, we open the door, and this is an Irish tradition, you open the door to let out the old year and let in the new year. And I was thinking about this morning in my meditation and thought, you know, it's a bigger thing to do it on a New Year's Day, absolutely, and I hope you guys all celebrated with friends and family and were able to let out the old year. I think we all need to do that. Goodbye 2021. However, to me, this practice is a way that I'm always letting out the old and making room for the new. So take that philosophy with you this year as you do your practices. It may be helpful to motivate you, to get you dedicated to these practices. And we'll start. So we're going to do a little bit for the hips. We're going to start with forward folding. We're going to stretch the back line of the body. And the reason for that is because first we're going to let things out. And usually we do that in forward folds in yoga. And it'll be a nice gentle practice, some somatic movement, and then some holds. So we're going to bend the knees. You may want 2 pillows, by the way. You see I've got some pillows here. Bend the knees, place your hands behind you for some support, and simply let your legs fall to one side as you breathe out. If you want to do it to your breath. As you breathe in, lift them back up. And breathe out, let them fall. So oftentimes we call this windshield wipers. And just letting the legs go back and forth, warming up the hips for a new year and a little side to side. And then next time the knees are to the right, we're going to leave them there and take your arms around all the way as far as you can go and rotate to the right. So I get to look out at the beautiful water and just take a few breaths there in this rotation of the spine and your hips. And hold. If your mind starts to wander away from sensations in your body, then think about what is it that you are ready to let go out the door. And then slowly breathe out and come back to the center. Do a couple more flippy floppy back and forth. You can think of those fish out there swimming in the ocean. Just flippy floppy, very gentle. Maybe it feels like I'm moving in this beautiful breeze today. And next time we have both knees to the left, let them stay there. Just let them fall together wherever they may. Begin to take both arms across the legs all the way towards that back left thigh and rotate your spine. Nice and tall. You can press into the ground with your fingers for a little more support. Close your eyes or take in the view as I am. So the yoga philosophy often teaches us this idea of recycle and renew. As you go through the past year and you find things that you want to get rid of, there also may be things that you want to recycle and renew and bring with you. What are those things? Just a nice steady breath, feeling the rotation through your spine. And then a breath out. You can come back to the center. All right, we're going to take both legs out long. And if you find discomfort pulling in your hamstrings or your low back, what you might want to do is put a pillow underneath one of your knees, especially we're not going to work with the right leg yet. We'll work with the left one. So you could even keep the right leg bent like this. We're going to do just the left leg first. So we're going to take the left leg. We're going to do internal and external rotation of the hip. So as you breathe out, you're going to turn the whole leg line inward. So think of trying to touch the big toe side of your foot to the ground. So the whole leg rotates, internal rotation, and then drag it towards the center or towards your right leg. And then you're going to inhale, turn the whole thigh outward. So I'm not bending my knee. I want to keep the leg straight so the thigh goes as well. If I bend my knee, just the foot is going to go. I want to feel it through my hip and then drag it outward. So we're exhaling internal rotation and inhaling external rotation. And just this nice back and forth. So I've got a little bit of a grippy surface here, so my muscles are working harder than usual than if I was just on a nice slippery yoga floor. That's okay. We're making our practices functional today. And just sliding it, feel it all the way up into your hip joint. Might feel some of the muscles in your thigh. Just a nice swimming back and forth. One more time with that left leg. And then let it hang, so you can either just take both legs out, shake them out a little bit. And then we're gonna do the opposite. So left leg can stay long, you can bend the knee, you could put something underneath the knee. We're gonna work with the right leg. So visualize your right leg all the way from the toes up into that hip joint. As you breathe out, turn the thigh bone inward. So you can think of turning your foot, but really turn the whole thigh and then drag it towards the center of your body. As you breathe in, pinky toe side down towards the ground, externally rotate that thigh and drag it away from the center. Just feeling this up into that hip joint, waking it up. We also say that the hips and the pelvis are a place where we hold a lot of emotion in the body. So I find that practices that focus on the hips often help me to release emotion. But you can just be present in the physical space of the sensations of the muscles, moving your leg back and forth like it's swimming. And we'll do one more with that right leg. And then pausing, just let the legs shake out. So now we're going to go a little bit more into a forward motion, and we're going to take both of those internal and external rotations into consideration. So the right leg's going to stay long. The left leg's going to go into external rotation. So we bring the left foot towards the inner right leg line somewhere. It can be down by the calf or up by the thigh. If you find there's too much pulling in the hip, you can put a pillow underneath that left knee. If there's too much pulling in the hamstrings in the right leg or too much discomfort, put something underneath your right knee. So use any pads you want. The other thing is we watch the back and spine, that we're not falling backwards. So push and try to come forward on the front of your sit bones, so you're taller through your low back instead of rounded. So finding that position, and then first just start by making some circles with your torso. Familiarize your body with this position just by making circles. Oftentimes when we circle, it's mostly the head going. Keep the head and neck still and see if you can move from your waist area. You can go side to side. We start to come forward. You'll notice the more you come forward, the deeper the stretch through the back line of the body. Just explore. You can switch the direction of the circles. Staying grounded might mean feeling yourself through your sits bones. Maybe feel when you go from your right sit bone to your left one, forward and back. And then we're going to take a little bit more of a forward motion with this, and we're going to add some arms. So as you breathe in, reach your arms up. And as you breathe out, take the hands through the brow and the heart center and gently fold forward. So now we're focusing more on stretching that back line. Inhale, reach up. And exhaling forward. So you'll know now if you're getting too much pulling the back of that right leg, you might want to bend the knee or put something underneath it. If it's the left hip that's being too grumpy, support it with a pillow. The other thing you can do is engage the right leg a little bit more. So the more muscular engagement we create, we're protecting the joints. So if you're feeling pulling or tugging in the joints, try pointing your right toes up as you're doing this. Push through the heel a little bit like you're pushing on a pedal. And then as you exhale, you'll feel as you come forward, there's a little more muscular protection or engagement for that. So the more we engage the front of the leg, the deeper the stretch can go into the back of the leg, because our muscles work. They're what we say antagonistic. As one contracts, the other stretches. So in stretching the hamstrings, there's more support if we engage the front, the quadriceps. Now I'm just going to be quiet and let you feel it. Feel the backside opening up. Exhaling and reaching and lengthening through the waist, through the spine. Take that length with you as you exhale and bow forward. Inhaling, reaching, lengthening. Waist, spine, exhale, fold forward. Let's do one more in movement. And then we're going to find a space to hold. So you might be further up here, and some contraindications are, for instance, osteoporosis. If you have any sort of disc injury in your lumbar spine, then what we do is we fold from the hip crease down here as opposed to the waist. So there's the low hinge here, and so you can still stretch your legs out. We're just not going to round the spine. So you might stay more upright, fold from the hip crease and be here. As you breathe out, just let the weight of the torso fall towards the thighs. You might relax the right leg more now if you are engaging it. If there's nothing going on with your low back, you haven't been told you're not supposed to do forward folds because of osteoporosis, then you can go a little deeper and not only fold from the hip crease, but also the waist. But find the space where you can be comfortable. We're going to stay here for about a minute and just enjoy this space in our body. And perhaps entertain what it is that you're letting out the door on this new year start. If you get lost in any distractions outside your body, just come back to your breath, to the sensations. Those will invite you home, even to the thoughts of the last year. Recycle, reuse. Take one more breath out. And then on a breath in, slowly lift yourself back up. Instead of using your hands to lift the leg up, use the power of the inner thigh muscles. Press into the pinky toe side of the foot, lift the leg up for a moment. Maybe extend it out, shake it out. You might be feeling that hip. You can shake both legs. So now we're going to do a hold in the internal rotation, which I'll give some options on how to sit, because if our internal rotation is tight, then it's not going to be comfortable just taking the leg back like this. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to bend the left knee, internally rotate the thigh. So do that with your muscles, and then take the left heel back by the buttocks. So if you find you're leaning way over to the right, what you might do is take a pillow or something underneath your right butt cheek and prop yourself up. That usually helps to get the hips more even and will take some of the pressure off of that left leg. So you decide where you need to be. And once we're there, we'll again just make circles first. Just give your body a chance to feel this posture. Trying to circle from the waist. And you're going to get different sensations depending on if you go right to left or forward and back. Explore them all with gratitude. Then we'll be doing that forward motion in this position as well. So reaching up on the inhalation, lengthening and elongating the spine as you breathe out. Fold from that hip crease, coming forward. Hands can slide down to the heart. Inhaling, reaching and lengthening. And exhaling, forward and fold. Option to engage that right leg again. So recognizing we're not only stretching the left leg in that internal rotation of the left hip, but you're getting into the hamstrings in the right leg, maybe your calf. Say hello, good morning, good afternoon, whatever time it is there. My neighbors and family are sleeping right now as I do this. Unless you were all up partying all night. And just finding your way. So you can, in movement, I find you can go a little bit deeper and then your body will say, nope, that was too much, right? Sensation will tell you what's too much, where can you go further? And then when we're ready to settle and take that hold, you'll know maybe you don't want to go to your end point where you're going in movement, but right before that, if you've got anything going on in your spine, stay more upright here. Keep letting the muscles relax. You can settle in. Use your hands for support. We'll be here for about a minute. Notice the way the abdomen is gently compressed. And the spaciousness of the back body. The back body is referred to as the shadow side. It's what holds our past memories. You might even breathe into the back of your lungs. Notice where you're holding yourself or tensing or tightening. Can you give yourself permission to relax those areas? Last breath out. Breathe in and slowly rise up. Once again, when we take the left leg out, instead of using your hands, I'd like you to use your muscles. So push that big toe side of the foot into the ground. Use the outer hip muscles to lift it up and then extend it out. It'll feel terrific. Shake it out a little bit. Take your hands behind you. We'll do the windshield wiper with just one leg and just notice what it feels like. Exhale. Exhale, you can fall out if you want to do it to your breath and just go side to side. Exhale in, just that left leg. So let it find that movement we did in the very beginning. You might have a whole new experience now. And then take the left leg out next to its partner. I need to resituate my spine, maybe you do too. And take that magical moment to just feel your two legs all the way from the toes up through the hips and notice if there's any difference. Or notice what you can notice. What is the same? Where do you have no sensation? Is one leg heavier, lighter, longer, shorter? This is giving our body the opportunity to map the changes we've created through these movements. The brain can feel these subtle changes. All right, and then we're going to do the same with the right leg. So we'll start with the external rotation. You can draw that right leg up, take the foot somewhere to the inner left leg line. It might be further down towards the calf or up towards the thigh. It's really a personal preference. If your knee's up in the air, consider putting a pillow or something underneath it to support it, especially if there's pulling before we're even moving. The left leg will be extended. You can bend the knee to give it a little bit of grace. You could also put a pillow underneath the left knee. So find that space where you know you're not kidding yourself, you're not starting this movement by gritting your teeth, and then just make some nice circles. Circle your spine, explore. You can feel your muscles, you can feel the position of your bones, image your bones, how they're holding you in this space. Bones are always grounding, solid. You may feel your bones as your connection to the earth. The muscles like heat and movement. And explore all the different directions. And we'll begin to make this more of a forward movement. So for me, I like to engage the left leg, point the toes and the kneecap upward. It almost feels like you're drawing your knee up your thigh to engage that front of your thigh, your quadriceps. We reach up on the inhalation, creating the length through the spine. Keep that length as you exhale, hands through the brow and the heart, and bowing forward from that lower hinge at the hip crease. So go slow and easy. Try to avoid rounding the spine. We keep the spine in the same neutral position and come forward from the heart, even if we don't fold as far. The low back stays long. I'm getting a little cold every time I lift my arms up. The sea air is the sea air. I'm sending it to all of you. It's a beautiful thing, a beautiful healing tool, breathing the sea air. And explore your end range of motion if you'd like. Maybe you're into touching your nose to your knee. That's fabulous, do it, but only if it's making you smile and feel gratitude for your body. You do you, I do me. And then we remember that we're all connected. And see if you found that spot where you just want to stop and hang out. Hands can go to the ground. You may be more upright, leading from the heart, shoulders back, just folding from that lower hinge. Or if it's appropriate, you can also fold from the upper hinge. Let your back line get more of a stretch. Breathe out, just let the torso fall towards the earth. See what's in there today. What's in the back side of your body. You might feel that stretch in your inner right thigh or the back of the left leg. The physical sensations will lead you into something deeper. Notice the softness of the abdomen moving even though it's compressed. Breathe once again into the backs of the lungs. Think of the back of the heart door. What is it that you want to let out of there from 2021? Breathe out and breathe in. Slowly lift yourself back up. Okay, using the muscles in the legs as opposed to grabbing your leg with your arm, press into the pinky toe side of the foot. Hug the inner thigh up, lift your kneecap, take that leg out, shake it out. Take it out, shake it out. The second position, the internal rotation. For many of us, it's a bugger. So use any props you need to. You're going to kind of roll onto your left hip, lift that right leg up, squeeze it in. So I'm not using my hands, I want to use my muscles, and set it down. And if you know right away it's just not happening, take it back out, fold a pillow in half or even something bigger. Sometimes I have people sit on yoga blocks, just that left butt cheek, and then that right leg should go back a little bit easier. Find your position there. Got the internal rotation of the right thigh still going into the back of the left leg and the back line of the spine. Got some sun coming out now. Make some circles. Circles are such a sacred symbol, and to our body, it's a way of saying, I respect you. I'm going to move gracefully. And just explore, be curious what you feel in each direction. What happens if you make the circles bigger or smaller? Circles are a continuum of feeling, of being present in our felt sense in our body, different ways. And then we'll make this into a forward journey. So tall through your spine, feel your sits bones. Breathe in, reach up. See if you can create some space in the ribs and the spine. As you breathe out, let your hands come down through your brow and your heart and fold forward. You may want to engage that left leg by pointing the toes and the kneecap up, so oftentimes it falls out. So just a little bit of rolling the thigh upward and inward can make the hamstrings feel the protection of the front of the thigh. Just be curious. Inhaling up. Exhaling forward. So for most normal-bodied human beings, forward folds can really not be so comfortable. There can be some unpleasant sensations. So that's why I really like you to go slow. Use any supports. There is no end game of touching nose to knee. And see if in this movement you've found that place of compromise far enough forward where you're feeling sensation, but not so far forward where you feel strain. So it's okay to be up here. That's the nice thing of practicing at home, right? Nobody else is with you. You don't feel judged. So take what feels right for you. You can be up here, or you can also fold from the upper hinge. Come all the way down. Where can you comfortably open the back line of your left leg? Sensing your right hip, internal rotation. One of the ways you'll know that you've found the pleasant space is your breath won't be restrained in any way. You can still breathe smoothly. Strain in the breath is strain in the body. See if each breath out can just allow your trunk to be heavier and heavier. Take one more breath out and breathe in and slowly lift yourself up. Coming out of this position of the right leg, you can rock onto your left hip. Hug it in toward you, use your muscles, and then take it out. Take it out, shake it out. So that concludes our forward folding for this practice. And now we're going to come down onto our backs and do a little bit of back bending. And you will want the pillows or something to put under your spine eventually. Let's see, I'm going to need to get these out of the way for now. We're going to come down onto our backs. Bend your knees for a moment, hug your knees into your chest, and just roll that back around. You might sense that you were just stretching out that area. Give it a little massage. And then we're going to do a full body stretch. I've got some pillows here. I'm going to move those out of the way. Take your legs long and your arms overhead, full body yawn. Take a couple breaths there. And notice as you do that how your back will arch away from the floor. The weight goes into the buttocks and the shoulder blades. Keep breathing and arching the back. As you breathe in, let your front line of your body lift. And then take a breath out and see if you can start to work the back body, the spine itself towards the floor. Just a little bit. Feel that front side as you do that. And exhale. Relax everything. Bend your knees. Take your feet to the floor. We're coming into constructive rest position, which means we want the hips, the knees, and the ankles in the same line. So if you lift your leg to 90 degrees and drop it down, that's usually about the right spot. If your heels are too far from your body, then that low back is going to arch. You'll have a big space underneath it. You don't want that if they're too far away. The other side is if your heels are too close to your buttocks, then your low back's going to push into the ground, your tail will lift. So find that in-between space. And we'll do our arch and curl. This is the best movement to start our new year because it's a movement that we should all do every day. So you can take your hands to your belly, breathe in, and notice as you breathe in how your abdomen rises. And as it rises, think of it like a balloon. And let it lift up. Even think of lifting your low back off the floor, maybe even pressing your tailbone down. And then as you breathe out, draw the navel center in, the abdomen empties, push the low back and low ribs gently into the ground and lift the tailbone. So the way we create the rocking of the pelvis is either by pushing into the ground and or pulling away from the ground. So inhalation, pushing tailbone into the ground, pulling low back away from the ground. Exhalation, pushing low back and low ribs into the ground, lifting tailbone away from the ground. So first, just exploring this very basic but important movement of the pelvis front to back. We're creating a back bend on the inhalation, shortening the spine, the back of the spine, and then it's like a forward fold on the exhalation, lengthening the low back. You might even picture the discs of your spine as you breathe in. The front of the discs are actually stretching. Well, not stretching, but there's space between them. And then on the exhalation, the front of the discs are gently compressed. So just take it to where it feels good for you. And then we're going to add the arms into this. So now as you breathe in, begin to roll your arm bones outward. So just roll them away from your body. You can see how my hands are rolling. And then push your shoulder blades slightly into the ground. It'll create a bigger arch. As you breathe out, roll your arm bones in towards your body and squeeze the arms towards your collarbones. So we inhale, create a bigger arch, pressing into the tailbone and the shoulder blades. Exhale, roll it inward. And I'm gonna hope that you're finding this movement and just let you do some in silence. If you do my videos often enough, you definitely know this one. Option is there to start sliding your arms more overhead if that feels good. Notice if your head is moving at all. This is a tail to tongue movement in its freest form, and freedom comes in the body when we know how to make movements, the same movements in more than one way, more than one muscle combination. So that pushing into and pulling away. So generally the head should float towards the tail on inhalation, chin towards the chest. And on exhalation, the chin floats away from the pelvis. Just see if that's happening naturally. We're going to add one more movement to this if you'd like to. But remember, it's juggling balls, so only juggle as many as you feel comfortable with. Keeping the feet where they are. As you inhale, you're going to drop the knees open. There's that external rotation we did earlier. So we're in the arch of the back bend. And then on the exhalation, hug the inner thighs together. That's a tiny bit of an internal rotation. Inhale, arch the back, let the knees drop open. Exhale, hug the inner thighs, hug the inner arm bones, lift tail and shoulder blades. And play with combinations of pushing into the ground and pulling away from the ground that will create the largest range of motion for you, but with the most pleasant sensations, the most ease perhaps. We'll do just a few more of these. So now we're going back and forth between the back bend and what we call the forward fold, or the inhalation is the arch of the back, exhalation is the curl. It's actually called extension and flexion, not that we care today, only that we're gonna end today in a pose of extension. So next time you're in that open space, maybe just let your arms relax. Notice what it feels like, where you're lifting through your back, how high you're lifting. You could just stay right there, but I like to take a little bit of support in. This is our final pose here. So if you're like me, you can lift your legs up. That's why I have these pillows here. You know, I don't have all my props and I don't need them, but I have 2 pillows because I like to be a little bit higher. You can decide how you want to be. And you're going to take those props and put it somewhere right towards the back of the heart. So think of your rib cage and up. We don't want them all the way down by the lumbar spine. You could also use a rolled yoga mat if you like something a little bit harder, or a rolled blanket. Start with your knees bent, feet on the floor. So the shoulders themselves are not on the support, they're falling over the support or on top of the support. Start with your arms at your sides. See if it's the right height for you. You can rock your head side to side. Maybe you want to go back into that external rotation of the thighs, letting the feet come together, Baddha Konasana style, or you can let the knees fall together and go into the internal rotation. That's my preference, but see what you like. Notice how you feel more expanded through the chest and the lungs, and arms could stay there, or taking the arms slightly overhead in like a goalpost position can bring even more spaciousness into the upper chest. Position yourself for success and a pleasant experience. And this position translates to moving forward. This idea of this new year of 2022. Our front side is our here and our now, and we're creating spaciousness and to some extent vulnerability when we open our front body. But give yourself a moment to think about what it is in this year that you want to carry forward from the last year. We've already let go, hopefully, of what we don't want to carry forward. You can bring yourself into your heart space even. Physically feel the spaciousness in and around the heart and the lungs. How can your body and your brain be friends in a way that welcomes this new year? Physically, we're opening the door to our front body. And so what are we opening the door to? Not only in our body, but through our thoughts, our intentions. And I'll leave you here to enjoy the space in silence for about a minute. Sense the fullness of your breath in both the left and the right lung. Your throat is open and spacious and soft. The jaw is relaxed. Welcoming yourself into your body, particularly your front body, but also into this new year by setting an intention, perhaps in the heart, You may even place your hands on your heart. You can stay here as long as you'd like. If you've got extra time, I encourage you to. When we come out, we want to roll to one side first. So watch, I'll be doing more specific with setting intention, what we call sankalpa in yoga. I'm working on a meditation for that, so that's up and coming. And one last thought that I also had this morning is I remember one of my teachers saying to me that if you walk around all the time with 2 stones in your hands, when somebody comes along and they want to give you money, you won't be able to take it. So that's a little bit like life. If we can let go of last year, and I know there's a lot I'm working on letting go of, then we're open to receive what will come to us in this new year. Don't let yourself get bogged down by what's in the past that doesn't serve you anymore. That's my wish for you this year, and thank you again for all of your support. Peace, joy, love, and light from beautiful West Cork, Ireland.